So number one, apologies. So I'll hand to Clark for our apologies.
I've got apologies from Councillor Haddington, who's at work, and apologies from the Borough Councillors, Casey and Cross, who are both at an SPC meeting. And I have tabled a report that is from Sam, but it's actually from both Sam and John Casey.
Okay, thank you. Can I please have a vote? Do you also accept these apologies?
Yes.
Yeah. Lovely, thank you very much. Number two, declaration of interest. Council to receive any declaration of interest in accordance with the requirements of the Localism Act 2011 and to consider any applications for dispensations in relation to disclosable pecuniary interest or personal interest. Are there any declarations of interest from any members to this agenda? No? Thank you. Number three, public participation time. Please note there are 15 minutes available to the members of the public to speak. Do we have any members of the public that may like to speak this evening? Yes, Mr. Mook.
Hello, good evening everybody. The first thing I would like to say is I would like to say thank you very much to Councillor Sam Cross for representing the residents of Filey at the recent Scarborough Borough Council Planning Committee meeting in reference to the site at McCarthy and Stone in removing condition 11 on the previous planning there. I would also like to thank Councillor Howgate, Councillor Parkin and Councillor Wilkie for the work they did in the consultation for Filey Town Council on that planning application as well. Councillor Cross represented the residents at the Scarborough Borough Council planning meeting on Thursday the 7th and objected to the McCarthy and Stone applying to remove condition 11 on the previous planning permissions. The planning application was passed on the 7th, 8-6 with one abstention. I think it was appalling that officers did not make all the councillors sitting aware of the current situation on this site. Plots 6 and 7 are still flooded, with over a foot of water standing and ponding in this area and affecting Mr. Fenby's garden at 33 Arndale Way. It's not acceptable to put residents of Mr. and Mrs. Fenby's age under such stress and worry. The planning committee completely ignored this information that was presented to them and still passed the condition to lower the height of buildings on plots, the 10 plots in the lower area and the apartments on that site. That's really all I have to say. Just to reiterate, thank you very much to the councillors that supported the residents on that, and thank you very much for putting your objections in.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mook. Thank you very much for your kind words to the councillors. I'm sure they do appreciate it because they do take a lot of time and effort. And I'm sorry that the vote didn't go the way it should have really gone in the direction of the people that live up there. And I'm sorry to hear they're having such troubles up there. But if anything more that we can do as a council, I'm sure we can just maybe write more letters in and just show our disagreement with what's going on. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to say anything? Oh, sorry, Councillor Hackney.
I was going to bring this up on the county, but as John brought it up, there's been a lot of complaints about the mud being carried out of the site. Yes, they've got the road sweeper going up and down, but you do that with the yard road. It really is a mess, and it not only goes south out of Filey, it also goes north. They're using every road in Filey, it would appear. And it's carrying mud all over, especially in this recent wet weather. It's a total mess. I'm sure there must be a condition that says they must wash lorry wheels before leaving site. But they don't appear to be doing that.
Do you have a response to that?
Yeah, we have already put in the concern over that to the portal this morning, and we've also put in a concern over the speed of the traffic in that area. The traffic being to and from the site, because residents are having concerns about crossing the road, in particular at the junction of at Arndale Way and Church Churchcliffe Drive.
And just on a personal note, they are parking cars on the pavement, which means you have to walk into the middle of the road through all the mud to get into the country park. Which again can't be right because it's got a yellow line.
Is there anything that we can write to about that, or?
Yeah, we've done that as part of the portal. There's a specific section on the portal for reporting any incidents to do with highways, and we did that today.
Right, Margaret, so we can just keep on top of that and just keep reporting. Yes, Councillor Randall.
Yeah, on top of that, both Councillor Casey and myself reported to North Yorkshire County Council about 6 weeks ago about this issue, because there were big chunks of mud just going down the drain. So that will block the drains eventually for Churchcliffe Farm development, and they're already quite concerned, the people that live on that development.
Or maybe we can bring this up under Councillor Squire's area, then she can take it back and talk about it when it comes under her consultation area. Anybody else got anything they would like to say? Councillor Cocker?
Yeah, as there are obviously issues that are contrary to the planning decision, you could phone call to Nick Reed at the planning department at Scarborough. Should help.
Alright, lovely, thank you very much. Are we all good? Anybody else like to say anything? No? Okay, then I'll go back to any councillors can speak now. Thank you very much. Number 4, North Yorkshire Police Report. Unfortunately, we haven't got a representative of the police with us this evening. If there are any questions, these will be noted by the clerk for the police to answer at a later date. Does anybody have any questions regarding the report that the police sent in that we would like the clerk to pass on? Okay, I'll move on to number 5 then. For the alleviation scheme. The latest information received from Scarborough Council is that the topic negotiations are still not finalised. A report will be provided on completion of legal matters. That's just as far as we are with that. Councillor Cockrell.
Yeah, I went tonight, nothing positive really, but apparently another conflict between some landowners has arisen, and they're still trying to get that sorted out.
Councillor Hackby.
In light of Doncaster recently, I go back, as I said last month, this goes back to 2002, when the committee and the officers knew then that there may be problems with the landowners. It's now 2019, 17 years hence, and we're still having problems with them.
Well, I don't think it looks historic, but it certainly is, isn't it? Well, hopefully if we do get more information we could just share it with you, but until the legal matters are sorted, there's just no more that information we've been given. Councillor Robinson.
I wonder, the extra care facility have started in that field, and they're presumably building the new road. I think they've got to do the road first, which will take you round their site.
Right.
If they can be building in there, that same field, why can't the information that they must have be passed on to the flood alleviation?
Clark, would you know?
It's not, that's not an issue. More the issue is with the purchasing of parts of the land to allow the flood alleviation scheme to start. All the planning, etc., all the designs are complete. It's purely up to the purchase of the land by SBC to allow the development to go forward.
I thought it was that they still didn't know who all the landowners were.
No, everything is, they know who to negotiate with, it's just the negotiations are taking some time.
Maybe they want as much money as the extra care they do.
Okay. We'll move on to number 6. Borough and County Council report. So the Council report for Borough Council, as you all know, Councillor Cockrell has sent his, and you've all had an opportunity to read that. Should you have anything extra to add, Councillor Cockrell?
Just a few things, yeah.
Would you like to add prior to people asking questions? Or?
I'll get it all done at once.
Okay.
National Armed Forces Day. I mentioned National Armed Forces Day in my statement, and particularly my request that any aerial or seaborne elements visiting Scarborough might also involve firing. Last week, Councillor Cross and I attended a meeting in regard to the event. We were given an overview of the occasion that will be attended by whoever is Prime Minister, together with a senior member of the Royal Family. The portfolio holder and director confirmed that wherever possible, filing would be involved. Contact is to be made with the schools in Filey to explain the significance of the weekend, together with an opportunity for the Sea Cadets to become involved. As it is the National Armed Forces Day, the Red Arrow should be performing one of its displays, and it is probable that other aerial spectacles will take place. In each case, the Borough Council will request that the airplanes at least fly past Filey. It is also expected that at least one warship, probably HMS Duncan, the adopted vessel, will visit Scarborough. Again, a request will be made to allow at least a short visit to Filey by any Royal Navy vessels. Although a great deal of work has been carried out since the announcement, there is much more detailed work remaining. At the recent meeting attended by the Chief Exec, Leader and Borough Mayor, the idea of a designated director for Filey was raised, and I can confirm that Lisa Dixon put herself forward, and this has been approved. Lisa has asked me to make the offer on her behalf to meet the town councillors in a similar way that we met Mike Green and Steve Siddons, and she looks forward to receiving some convenient dates from the town clerk.
Okay, thank you. Has anybody got any questions for Councillor
I've
Cockle?
got-
Oh, sorry, I thought you finished, sorry.
Blue flag, or should I say bathing water results. The results from the sampling of bathing waters were announced by DEFRA earlier today. Filey has been confirmed as good for 2019. The Quality and Beach Awards are now open for applications to keep Britain tidy. An application has been submitted for whichever Filey qualifies, which hopefully will be both. Keep Britain Tidy usually make their awards in May. This season's results include excellent results, and they also include quite a few good results. Whether that will be enough to tip Filey into excellent for this next year will tell. Whilst this is the 4th year running that Filey has achieved good, we need to bear in mind that the outcome of any application is based on a rolling 4-year average, and that other criteria also apply.
Okay, thank you. Has anybody got any questions for Councillor Cockle? Yes, Councillor Gage.
Just about public toilets is the first thing. It's been another delay to allow time. Have we got any date for when a decision is expected to be made on that?
The latest indication I've had of what might be the timescale is it going to overview and scrutiny, I think it's later this month, or the beginning next month. Anyway, and then Cabinet in December and Council in January. But it might not.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Wilkie?
You just mentioned about bathing water was the results released today for 2019. Is that always the case, that it's like nearly the end of that particular year?
Well, that's the overall. You know, we've had the weekly sampling figures up to September, and then it's up to DEFRA to crunch the figures and give a formal category. And it's
so that carries forward till when?
Well, for the last 4 years, it's been good every year. But the criteria for getting excellent, which is the next one up, which then could mean we could get a blue flag, that's more, involves far more than just the bathing water quality.
Yeah, but what means the results are retrospective of the year, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
That's what I mean, that's what I was just trying to get around in me.
Yeah. It's just, in effect, it's a summary at the end of the year.
Yeah, right, okay. And secondly, just on the Mill Meadows report, Mike, the latest from Beyond Housing just says subject to receipt of planning approval. Is that, I'm unaware that they have to reapply, is that because it's in...
They've been doing some alterations.
They're changing things.
Yeah, and you know there's that, what's called like the Berlin Wall, which is bigger. They've been doing something on that, and also I think reducing the height of one of the buildings immediately adjacent to it, and they haven't quite got it sorted out.
I don't know whether they were just retesting, that's right. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Robinson?
Yes, about the Barclays. Barclays have agreed that we can still draw cash at the post office. That's quite recently.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Just an ATM.
Yeah, I'm continuing to withdraw money.
Oh, right.
Anybody else? Any questions for Councillor Cockle? No, thank you very much, Councillor Cockle, for your report. You've all been tabled the report tonight from Councillor Katie and Cross. If you've got any questions regarding that, you can either email them personally or go through the clerk. And I'd like to now move on to Council report, please, which you've all had the opportunity to read, hopefully. Has anybody got any questions for Helen Squire? Yes, Councillor Wilkie.
I've noticed about gritting in your report.
Yes.
How's that map, how's the map of so you've got loads of different categories out there, has that changed at all, or does that just continue?
No, I'm not
Does that
aware of any
get
changes.
reviewed or anything?
I'm not aware of any changes.
Anybody else got anything they'd like to ask? If not, we'll move on. No? Okay, thank you, Councillor. You have. Thank you very much. Has anybody got any reports that they would like to give from any of the outside issues that you might feel like high and bloom or... Put it all in one there, okay. Right, okay, number 7. So, I will, the council to receive a report from Town Clerk and RFO. I'll hand over to you, David, thank you.
Yeah, I've had a chance, I suppose, to have a read of it. Any questions?
Yes, Councillor Cockrell.
A couple of questions, not on your report actually. A resident asked me to inquire as to why it's only the catenary lights on Union Street until this.
It's an issue with the timers, and we have been in contact with Light, and when they come to install the Christmas lighting, they have come and they will be putting everything back to its proper timings and lighting and etc. And that's happening on the weekend around about the 22nd of November.
Yeah. And the other one, we were told some time ago about next year's Town Council dinner at the golf club. What's the situation there?
As far as I'm aware, excuse me for answering for you, David, unless you know more about it.
No.
I haven't had any concrete information, although it has come to my understanding that somebody may have to be, or in negotiation of taking it on, but I'm not too sure how, I haven't got clarification from the golf club of that yet, so until I do.
I'll try and find out at the AGM actually.
Thank you very much.
I've been told who's got it and they've agreed to take it over.
Right.
You may not be happy.
So we're waiting for Anybody else got any questions for the clerk? Yes, Councillor Gage.
Thank you. Point number 7. Council chambers being used on the Thursday, Saturday, by Margaret to support her CXA pass. I don't know what this is. It's not that I'm familiar with. Can you just briefly?
We were requested by, it's basically a clinic that is set up with North Yorkshire, with the NHS. If you go to the doctors with a potential pain problem, whether it's muscular or skeletal, they will refer you to this particular clinic and they will help doing certain exercises to improve you. And they have those sessions in this room every Thursday morning and Saturday morning for the next 6 weeks.
Right.
Yes, Councillor Randall.
Yeah, just to add on the council meetings, because I keep getting missed off, but Events and Lighting have met once this month and we've got an extra meeting in on the 28th. And we keep getting missed off the list. Makes us look like we aren't doing anything.
I wrote that before we had the other meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask something about that? There's a meeting that's on a Tuesday, but I think we'll get down on a Thursday. Is that this next week coming in? I'll speak about that later. I'm a bit confused about that. That's what you and I are discussing.
Nothing's Thursday. Tuesday.
Anybody else got any questions for the clerk? No? Okay, we'll move on then. Number 8. Minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday the 9th of October. You've had a chance to read them all. Could I have a proposal and a second to approve them, please? Thank you. Thank you. And approved.
When you get a chance.
Number 9. Oh, here we are. Minutes and reports from local organisation meetings. So before we note these meetings, can I ask the chair of each of the committee if they would like to comment on any of the minutes? Are you all happy? The chair of finance, town master guide and planning. Is there anything anybody of the chairs would like to say? If not, we'll go ahead. Yes,
Not a chair, no, I say something about the finance team.
Yeah.
There was also a section where we did some training on setting the budget and things like that, and I just want to say it was really worthwhile and it helped explain a lot to me, and I know David's putting on a session, is it Friday? If anybody's interested, just in general, just for how our finance works, it's certainly worth attending.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much. So no other chairs or anything they'd like to say. I would like to ask if we could propose a seconder to do these minutes on block, please. First, Councillor Goodman and Councillor, I say Randall there. Can we have an approval, please, of everybody? Thank you. Number 10, schedule of payment. Any members wish to make a comment or ask questions about the schedule? Yes, Councillor Mills.
I just wonder if we do pay advance fees and Brown Limited quite a lot of money. I just wonder what they do.
We do all of the maintenance and burial digging in the cemetery.
So there being quite a lot of burials then.
Yes.
I just thought if it's every month I could remember how much it is.
Unfortunately, it's coming to that time of the year.
Right, okay.
Anybody else like anything to say to that? Can we propose a seconder, please? And I'll vote through. Thank you very much. Number 11, Community Sports Club. The club are entering final negotiations with FAFC, which will be ratified by the Football Foundation prior to the final agreement. Councillor Wilkie, is there anything further you can provide us with?
Yes,
Thank you.
slightly. So the agreement has been finalised and agreed by the Football Foundation. Valley Community Sports Club Limited directors have signed that agreement. It's with Scarborough Athletic, who will be signing it this week to come back to us, and then we can move on with sort of management meetings. So there's going to be FCSC Limited and then two from Scarborough Athletic on the management committee to move forward and run the club. So from our point of view, I think the main thing is obviously the running and the maintenance and everything else, but it's mainly to make sure that the opportunity for the children in Filey is pushed forward and advertised social media, however we want to do it. So that's one of the main things that we'll be pushing for, because there's no point just going into this without us doing that. It's got to be available for the children at the time, so that's the whole point of it. And I know that was a big concern when you enter into these sorts of things, but it's up to us as a management committee to make sure that is going to happen. You know, those are monthly meetings with reviews every year. So the Football Foundation is still involved for another 7 years or so, 7 or 8 years. So it's moving on. I'd like to say.
That is Councillor Wilkie.
The only other thing I would say is, as this goes along, we will need some support on FCFC, just with, at the moment we've got the 4 directors, but we need more support, so I'll be asking if any councillors want to come on and help out. You don't have to be a director, but if you want to come on the committee, be a member and help out, that would be great. Hopefully some of the parents will get involved that are up there as well, but we need to just expand, you know, the people, and maybe the council needs to take a bit more of a lead in that as well. So that's just something for the future coming up. Yeah. Not particularly now to
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Big people in, I've got a couple of people. Councillor Gage.
Yeah, how long is the contract being signed for? Just out of curiosity. The contract with Scarborough Athletic, is it like ongoing? Is it reviewed every year?
It's going to be, well, it's initially for 9 years.
Right.
But we're reviewing. We'll review it every year. Annually.
There's an annual review.
Annual review. Yeah. And that's just something that will... And each side, there's a clause on each side to come after it.
And at the moment, what has been kind of offered for private kids? And I know you mentioned that. and I
There's
remember-
nothing specific in the agreement. The agreement is about the running of the facility and how that works. In terms of promoting that facility for private children, that will come out of the management meetings and our involvement with them. So that's a separate, there's nothing specific in there, but there are documents that restrict, well, how can I put it? It's the cost of the local, so they can't charge more than what is currently being charged elsewhere locally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'll
right,
just
Effectively, if a filing society or a filing club wants to use the facility and the facility is available, Scarborough Athletic have to allow that association or club to use the facility, and they are not allowed to charge anything more than the going rate for a council-run facility.
Right, okay.
Are you happy with that, Councillor Davis?
So they can't just charge
One
whatever they want.
further thing, have the schools kind of like been informed and...
Well, this will come out of the, we couldn't move forward with anything like that until the agreement was signed.
Okay.
So once that's done, that is going to be part of the management meetings and everything else in the charge. Yeah, you know, look, we're open to any suggestions that anyone wants to bring that, you know, we can bring to those management committee meetings. You know, it's not just us and our ideas. And it's a place for the community. And if Scarborough Athletic wants to win the schools, or it needs to be us, or combined, whatever's easiest.
Okay, Councillor Cockle, please.
Yeah, there's been various ideas put forward as to what work needs doing up there, like drainage and
Yes,
stuff like that.
yes.
Is there any time scale being thought about for such things?
Scarborough Athletic are just taking on the whole running of that, so they have had a report, I believe, haven't they, on the soil?
Yeah, they had a report from the Parks and Gate, East Riding, Parks and Gate and etc. They've come along, the grounds people have said, they've given them a scheme of works that they consider that needs to be done, and as part of the contract, Scarborough Athletic will be signed to say that they will be fulfilling that as part of their contractual obligations.
Again, the management meetings will probably come up with some sort of scheme of dates or...
So I would imagine that would be after the end of the season.
Yes, I mean,
I'm just thinking of any potential conflict with flood alleviation, that's all.
well,
I don't think there should be,
that
but
can be all
worked around.
worked around, built into it, which it would have been anyway, wouldn't it? You know, as I was aware, but you know, we're looking to reseed some of the pictures, weren't they? It just didn't, it got too late, I think, in the end, but they are committed to, you know, maintaining the ground and making it better, because it's in their interest as well.
Okay, thank you. Back to Councillor Gage.
Sorry, just one further comment. The timings of these things. So now, basically, got a done deal with Scarborough Athletic. Evolve fallen through their sports facility, and it just seems that the timing is just really out of kilter, and that there's something there that is a Barney Council asset that could really have been utilised by the different groups.
Yeah.
I know I've kind of missed the boat with this. I get that it's been there for years, it's not been utilised, but I just think there's a lot of things happening now in Friday that weren't just a few years ago. But I know it's gone.
The initial when we found we were in a situation where there was no football teams there, we did approach Football Foundations and others to see what else we could open it up to. The preferred is football, because that's what the Football Foundation specified. I'd be right in saying that one day.
They were very, very reluctant to accept any other activities other than football at this moment in time. as I say, when it gets to the end of their 7 years of involvement, then that potentially could change.
Different thing.
Is it now or then?
It's now.
Okay, thank you.
Well, no, sorry, that's wrong. The agreement is for 9, the whole foundation is 7 years. That's all. Sorry, yeah.
Any other questions for Councillor Wilkie regarding this subject? No, thank you, Councillor Wilkie.
Thank you. I've got something to say.
Number 12, Private Sports Leisure Funding. The Joe Island Customer Community and Partnership Manager, Scarborough Borough Council, visited Parry Town Council on Friday the 25th of October to meet with Sue Bosom, Chair of the Sports Funding Working Party, and the Town Clerk to clarify the position of Scarborough Borough Council regarding the funding for the EBOT Academy project. I hope you've had an opportunity to have a good read of the report that's been given out, and are there any comments or questions regarding the report? Yes.
I must say, wherever it's just going to be one project that it's going to come.
No, it's not. The report from Joe Island is that there's £328,000. It can be more than one, but it has to, whoever is going to put forward to be part of this money has to come forward with business plans and have everything in order that they want, and Scarborough Borough Council will look at it to see if it's viable and meets their criteria. But it's not just one, it can be like a skate park or just different ones. But this is to do with the Scarborough, this is to do with filing, this is to do with applying to the Scarborough Fund for this money. Yes, Councillor Wilkie.
It doesn't read like that to me.
No, it didn't to me.
No. But it is like that, maybe they've read it wrong. Would you like to specify further?
If we go back to, from Scarborough Borough's point of view, they originally approved their £300,000 for the EBOT Academy project. That is, in the words of Joe Island, a significant and specific community project. And that was applied for with a business plan, and is and they are equally, they now know that's not going to happen, but that £328,000 is still available for another or a number of significant and specific community projects. But each of those has to be applied for using the business plan ethic, which means, as Madam Mayor said, it needs to have a feasibility study, it needs to have gone through consultation, there needs to be evidence of need and want.
Yes, Councillor Wilkie.
I understand that completely, but it's very careful in its wording about significant and specific.
Yes.
It doesn't say project, it says project.
It could be a number of projects.
But apart from those things you've outlined, what constitutes a significant community
project? It's like a skate park. If the skate park wanted to apply for this money, they could apply for it.
The indication we have, if it was somewhere in the region of the six-figure sum, that is a significant project.
It doesn't sort of give you any other criteria, does it? So
No.
I'm not talking about particularly the skate park, but what about other people that
They
might think that theirs is a significant project?
Well, this is a problem because this money here is no longer under the time level of it has to be spent by 2020 July. But if Scarborough Borough Council feels that somebody else applies for this money and it's more worthy or more needy than what we're applying for, not us as a council, other community groups in Filey are applying for, then they will have to then decide which their need feels is the greater of the criteria. Councillor Mills, sorry, do you want
I'm
to...
just saying, is it worth asking them for a clearer criteria as to what would constitute... I'm saying that, I don't want to give it the same education, so they can say that.
We asked them that question whether they would accept an umbrella of, say, 10 different groups asking for what we consider to be a significant no. It has to be one project by one group, and it has to be significant, and the indication of significance in terms of finance was approximately a six-figure sum.
Have you finished, Councillor?
No, just one more question. So the one significant project, that's not just what we decide as a council, any outside?
Nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with us.
This is nothing, this particular amount of money is nothing to do with this council.
Right.
This is to do with groups in Filey that wish to apply for this money. The only money that we're responsible for is the 65,000 that we got to go to EBOR, which we're no longer spending on EBOR, so now we can stretch that out across Filey elsewhere. This amount of money here,
Yes.
328,000, is Scarborough money, which groups have to apply to Scarborough for.
Including
Don't
that
come to
group
us-
that we set up, could they?
Don't come to us at all. That's nothing to do with it. It's to do with
No, so
Scarborough.
that's separate as well.
It's got to be a constitutionalised organisation that applies for the funding.
Oh, 'cause I thought we set up that working group for this.
We've looked
And
at,
Mac
we've
and
set
Vic
up that working party to look for projects
Right, oh, to
and
get them
to
in
support.
Right.
Yeah, we're not doing it. As a council, we're supporting them. We're not
Right.
doing
We're not doing
Skate
community work.
Park as an ideal, just because I know it's available and it is actually there. So something like that has a constitution, that has a committee, that has a treasurer, they can apply to Scarborough for some of this money if they wish to.
Why can't we?
Because we,
As a council, can't we apply
we
for
are
it
the
for
body.
some-
We're
We are the
not- we are the
Constituted body.
No, we're a council.
Yeah, so
This
you
is
can,
nothing, this money is only because it's not being spent anymore at EBOR.
right.
That's all.
And it's not guaranteed that it will come to a project in filing. It has got to meet all this criteria. It's got to prove that there's a demand for it, there's a need for it, that there's been a
Yeah.
complete feasibility study done, that there is backup for maintaining and ensuring said facility, and and even then, if all that's in place, it's still not guaranteed.
Can I bring Councillor Cockle in next? I've got a line of quite a few of the councillors that wish to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, the meeting of the Borough Council last Monday, I did thank the leader and the portfolio holder for agreeing to widen the scope of the £328,000. And I also made specific mention that there were, as I've mentioned in my statement, two potential projects currently under discussion. And I did say that they were the skateboard park and the push for bikers. So it is there in black and white, it's minuted. And if there's any money left over and another significant scheme comes forward, great.
Just as a point to that, Joanne, when she did make it so herself, she did mention that she was fully aware of the skate park and the potential bike pump track as being within the criteria that she considered was applicable for this funding.
But these groups still have to get it together to apply for it in the correct manner. Right, Councillor Haxton, is you next.
The problem with statements made in this chamber and on the radio led local community groups to believe this was a pot of money that anybody could apply for, which was totally misleading because they were ringing the clerk up asking for the money. Now I think we need to put a statement out saying it wasn't the case and put some specific reasons why they didn't or how they applied for the grant, some of the clauses in it, because local groups still think this money's there. And as I say, it's not. It's only significant projects. And I think these local groups should be informed that they were misinformed in a lot of respect. And that it is for major projects. And you know, six-figure sums are not really within the realms of most of our groups.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Parkin.
Councillor,
Okay, Councillor Halkett. Okay, Councillor Gay.
I was going to say, last time we had a meeting and this amount of money was raised 326. I was one of the people under the impression that we, by town council, get to spend this money, and that's why the sport committee was set up. That's the third thing.
I'd second that myself.
Yeah, that was my understanding when we had this meeting, definitely. And then the other thing, so we've got the pump track and we've got the skate park. and you're on about need to do like a business plan and that and the other, is there anywhere, that for instance, if somebody comes forward with another idea, to build something new, where they can get advice on how to do it, how to access this money, who would they need to go to? Would it be somebody at SBC?
We've sort of preempted this. I've preempted it, and I've been speaking to Matt Hewson, would be the sort of go-to guy for this, and he's actually coming over to the council offices on Tuesday the 26th of November to discuss how he can support anybody who's putting forward a plan. I don't know how we can support it yet, because we haven't had a meeting, but he will be, his indication is to say he's coming over to discuss the support for anybody who wants to apply for the funding.
Matt Hewson.
Matt Hewson.
Hewson, and he's SBC, what's his role?
Community Sports Liaison Manager. Something like that.
Alright, Councillor Gates?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Just on reflection as to what Councillor Hackby was saying, that I am in agreement with the fact that information did go out before we had the full information from Scarborough Council as to what, until Joe Island came and went through everything so that we knew what we could and couldn't offer. So that was some confusion there that got offered to the public before we had the option to actually recognise what we could give. So the working group is put together for specific things which hopefully we will come to light with the 65,000 that we have filing money to spend. Sorry, Councillor Guzman.
That's what I was just going to bring up, Madam Mayor. A £65,000 that we, as a council, allocated to the EBOR project is still there, budgeted. So that we need to discuss as a council about how we go about distributing that money to our community sports groups. So that is obviously the next arm of the working party, which then will have to put forward criteria, work through a criteria of how groups can apply for that, the share of that pot of money. So it is a significant amount of money. We also perhaps need to discuss whether it could be rounded up, and that would need to go to finance and what have you, but it's just...
No, you don't remember.
Why will we go up? Oh, we're talking about more than 5. But that's something that will come out of the next sports working partnership meeting, which will obviously then come back to council. But that £65,000 is there to be spent on sporting projects in this town, and we are a little bit more flexible, I would think, like to say, on how we can distribute that, other than Scarborough's rigid criteria, because that is significant project money, it's Scarborough Borough's money. You know, but obviously that's open to discussion, and that we can...
Well, actually, thank you, Councillor Douglas, to discuss, but I'm just bringing Councillor Robinson first.
But we don't have to spend it, do we? What's that? The 65,000. If we find, obviously we want to spend as much as possible on our sports and leisure, but if we find that the Scarborough money, if we got it all, if groups had finally got it all, and we felt that they were all covered, there's nothing in our budget, is there, to say that we have to spend that 65,000. Can we not just put it if we wanted to?
I think if we wanted to, we possibly could, but it has been earmarked.
It's been earmarked
and then it's been earmarked for 4 years since I've been on the council for this to go ahead.
It's specifically there as a spend.
328,000.
Yeah, but we're not guaranteed that.
No
way is any project entirely guaranteed
if we got it.
Right, I'll just try and make it a little bit clearer. It's really confusing this, and I totally understand why. I'll come to the second, Councillor Cockle. Is the money from Scarborough Council has to be applied for by groups, nothing to do with this council.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, that is their money to give to whom they feel meets the criteria of what they're setting out. If in between times somebody in another area of the borough comes up with another idea or another need that is deemed greater than what we put forward or have not as yet put forward, that 320, they might get it. The 65,000 will go nowhere because it's our council money that we have put aside for Ebor. Now Ebor's not going ahead, we can spend this 65,000 on another leisure sports facility, which covers an awful lot of things entirely. It doesn't have to be on one thing, it can be on 10 things, it can be on 2 things, it can be on what we as this council want it to be on. Councillor Gage.
Just one more thing.
Yeah.
Sport and leisure.
Yeah.
So it can be, for instance, enhancing a community space.
Sorry, yes, David.
For one of the reasons that I put in sport and leisure is that there's a hope to open up the possible uses of that amount of money. Whereas if you put it down to sport, it's fairly narrow in terms of what could be used for it. But if it's sport and leisure, then it does open up an awful lot more potential users.
For example, I know St John's are having some renovations done. St John's Church Hall, and they do an awful lot in the community, and they've got guys in there, they've got dance places in there, they're going to be having scouts in there and get that up and running.
I don't think we can spend on churches. We've had this before with spotlights and security systems, the St Oswald's and there's robberies at Grays, and we just can't spend council money. They're under deanships and all different kinds of clauses to spend money, but there's other areas that we can spend it on, which we'll bring up in a discussion. I can just move on to sorry about that.
Yeah. You've largely covered what I was going to say, Madam Mayor, but to put it simplistically, alright, the borough's money could be spent, from what the fact says, on 3 possible significant projects, and that takes care of the money. In effect, Farley Town Council's money could be spent on 65 projects at £1,000 a time.
Yeah. Councillor Wilkie.
All I was going to say, and through you, Chair, it'd be for the group to come up with the criteria to tell people what can and can't be applied for by which groups and stuff like that.
Now, I was going to ask further down for the funding working party prepare a procedure for applying for the funds, including their proposals for parameters for the funding, for them to go away to the group and to actually come together, so we can come back with something for us all to work on. So we've gone into the 65,000 of the Ebor project that the council now has, and we had a small debate to know about the funds, but we can have a bigger debate going forward. But what I would like tonight is to have a proposer for a motion for the, I'll propose the Farley Town Council reallocate £65,000 for leisure and sport projects in Farley. Is anybody that would like to second that? Thank you. And then a vote. Thank you very much, everybody. And then that money we can put on the agenda and we can have a whole evening discussing. And everybody's and if I can get the working party to have, as I say, look at preparing procedures for applying the money for filing, for the clubs to apply for, the parameters of the funding that they need. And then hopefully keep it as easy as possible for our local groups to apply for, and we can then spend some money in filing. Thank you very much, councillors. So, Mr Wilkie, or Councillor Wilkie, we've been Gate Councillors, we've been discussing it. That's great, Len. Yes, it is. Do you have any progress on that project?
Lost track of the agenda, isn't it?
Number 13.
It's moving quite at speed, actually. We've now got a very enthusiastic secretary on board, which is really good. It's helping me with some of the workload. Not really. So we have now got to actually look at this funding. So we're looking at feasibility studies, expressions of interest to do with the land, community transfer, business plans, all that sort of thing. So that is all in process. So we've come up with a sort of a timetable, if you like, of what needs doing first. Business plan and feasibility studies the first thing. So once those go off to Joe Island, it'll just be all moving quite quickly, I think. We're getting lots of interest, lots of help from people who know about skateboarding, which is not me. So there's lots of help. We do need to just forge some links with the schools. We're just struggling at the moment with that, and that's really just because The person that was looking after the council is now not, so there's some different...
You talked about EBOR?
EBOR,
Yeah.
yes. Well, EBOR and the junior school. So we're looking at year 6 to 9. So there's all sorts of things going on. It's just, you know, there's things like little sort of polls and things to see what they want, but we just need to. So we're in communication with contractors. So eventually we'll just choose 3 or 4 to go to tender, and then it'll move quite quickly. You know.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful, and I'm really pleased. My only slight reservation and concern is that a lot of people seem to think that this is a council-run thing, this skate park. I think it's because confusion of councillors and Scarborough councillors that are on, not as councillors, but are on there. So I'm sure that you could just make that clear that this money's nothing to do with Fyvie Council, it's the Scarborough Council.
You mean the funding?
Yes.
I can put that on there.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Thank you, Councillor Wilkie. Because I think a lot of people are very confused with that. I don't know why. I just think it's because of councillors and you're on things, it's automatically think it's part to do with Fyvie Council.
Yeah, we can post something on the Facebook group.
Are you ready to take questions?
Yeah.
Councillor Mills.
Oh no, my question was answered, I'm alright.
Oh, is it Councillor Robinson?
I was just wondering what this cycle pipe is.
The pump track.
Pump track.
That is in a separate place. It's not up near the Mugger.
Is your committee dealing with that or not?
Well, yes and no. They're coming under the umbrella of the group. So meeting together, but it is a separate project. And they've been talking to people about that before we sort of got going. Yeah, Joe Island. But it makes sense to bring it together at the same time. But it's up on the country part of the site that they're looking at.
Oh, right.
Rather than down at near the Mugger.
Councillor Mills?
I do have a question then. Have you got any idea of costings, just in terms of would, if the skate park and the pump track both went for it, would it be enough for both? Or would it be in competition?
I don't know about the pump track. We've got some bog standard designs and costs for a possible skate track, but that would skate park, but that would depend on the final design. So, you know, it just depends what people want really, and how much we're going to spend. So, but it could
take it on.
It could take it on. I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know about the cost of contracts.
Yeah.
Is that right, Councillor Mills?
Yeah, I was just wondering if they're working together and then not in competition with each other.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if there was £750,000 available and we could get it, we would spend it. You know, you get this fantastic contract, don't you?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, you don't want to sacrifice one for the other.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Councillor Coffin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the recent skateboard meeting, I stated that I would approach the Borough Council to suggest that some of the borough's funding allocation could be used towards the preparation of the feasibility report, the business case, together with the needs analysis that will be required to be for funding. And I've just been informed that it has been agreed by the Borough Council that up to £10,000 from the borough's allocation may be used in that way. I've received an email to that effect stating that the Borough Council will administer this funding and it will be subject to the usual principles of procurement and quotes, etc. More red tape. It's expected that Joe Island will continue to lead on this for the Borough Council and help pull the necessary documentation together, utilising the approved funding where necessary. And I think this is another major step forward.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's something that could be put out that, you know, you're working with Scarborough Council, you're working with Fyvie on this, it's all made for a lot better working negotiation between the two councils. Thank you very much, Councillor.
I think just one comment. Whilst you've got the borough's pot and the town council's pot, I would suggest that I don't think we need to necessarily look at them as totally separate pots, because there may be a project that would benefit from both, and it might, you know, just tip the scales by having a joint funding. So I think we just need to keep our minds on it.
Not forgetting that the town council has already got an allocation of £28,000 to the skate park already
Yeah,
approved.
that.
So that, if anything, you know, that is, in the knowledge that that is there, if match funding or any type of match funding is required.
A bit of working together.
Yeah.
Councillor Wilkie.
Just
Sorry, you
one,
want to say,
yeah,
Councillor?
sorry, no, just one thing. Looking around researching other skate parks and how they were dealt with and come to pass, a lot of them are run sort of, the council is behind them. We're slightly different, where you're supporting us, but it's a small group of people separate to any authority. So, saying what you're saying about putting that out on the
You don't want, you don't do
website
that.
would be useful. wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so, yeah.
But, yeah. You may have seen dare I say, in the Olympics, where the BMX bikes go down and go over the humps and round and about. That's how I can know they describe it.
So, as I understand it, it's a smaller version of what you might see on telly. It's almost like a practice track. A decent size, but not a full blown.
The skate park in some way or another.
It will not get the land to incorporate it.
Anybody else got any questions about the skate park? No? I'm sure we can discuss further if any of the issues forward next month. We'd like to keep abreast of what's happening and help where we can. Thank you very much, Councillor Wilkie. 14, replacement of lawn cemetery railings. The Property Committee on their last visit to the lawn cemetery resolved to investigate the replacement of the railings at the site. 3 quotes were received, and it was resolved to put to full council that the contractor to be awarded the work was Watkinson Property Services. Although this was not the lowest quote, it was felt that this company would provide the best quality of workmanship and aftercare. The clerk was requested to ask both Watkinson and Durham Street Engineering for evidence of the work intended to be provided and the references regarding work previously done to ensure that the feelings of the committee was evident. I hope you've had the opportunity to read the review of the evidence. Now, is there anybody that would like to have any comments or questions regarding the evidence that's since been brought forward? Yes, Councillor Wilkie.
Can I just ask something about the document that was sent out? You said it was 19 pages long. I can't see 19 pages of anything. It's just not coming up. So I can't. Just have to download it properly or something. Just got a loop of blank sheets.
That was
This is on the references.
the references, sorry.
I thought it was just
I only got the table, did you get the table? And then the thing on the...
Have you not got this one?
No.
Sorry.
I only had that table.
I really just noticed it tonight.
I think that was like page, isn't it? A lot of like pages, it's all there. It shows you the design.
Page 2 is blank.
Sorry.
You found it?
So I only got that page downloaded, the rest was blank. I got the table with the prices on it. I didn't get any of those.
So basically what we were asking was that because the Watkinson came in not as cheap as the other ones, was to quantify the difference of why we felt the Watkinsons was a better company to do the job, being that they are making it from scratch and basically can read everything else that there is to support both of the people that put forward the tenders. And what I'm asking this evening is that if you're all happy, yes, Councillor Cockle.
Yeah, just some queries on the quote comparison. It's got price including VAT 16,000, they are VAT registered, which does concern me. Total price 16,000, price excluding VAT 15,000.
No, it is 16,000, I do apologise.
That's just a fact.
I think
Yeah.
But I say I am a little concerned, I don't know the company, that they're not bank registered, so they obviously haven't got much of a turnover. And all the quotes that I've seen, it's just on plain paper. There's no heading. I don't know where they are. That's Durham Street.
Yes, they aren't a company that have been in existence for a particularly long time. They are a small business. There is one, yeah.
Sorry, Councillor Kane.
Watkinson's a sole trader, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not that registered, because he's a one-man
Yeah.
company, basically. So we've got a low turnover, haven't we?
And there's things like that that concern me as regards, all right, looking after it and things like that, and then it comes back.
Well, I think as part of the property committee, we sort of felt that that was one of the benefits of using him, because he is local, and, you know, part of his quote was that he would, you know, look after it, and if there was any issues, he would tend to them. Councillor Patrick.
What we're talking about here is Durham Street Engineering, they're buying something pure off the shelf.
Yes.
They'll have to cut the carve up to make it fit. Whereas we went for a gentleman's, they make it bespoke to fit what we want.
Yes.
There's a difference there, isn't there?
Yes, yes.
I know we were happy with Watkinson, not the quote necessarily, in fact there's no VAT to claim back, but the workmanship, and as you said, he was going to make it from scratch to our specifications. We were happier with that.
Yes. Councillor Wilkie.
So, sorry, I've got to go back to it. Am I right in saying that there's only that one small reference?
That's on Nicholson's reference.
No, we've got two.
Two, there's one
Two
from,
for Watkinson, one
Can't
from
see
a,
anything from Nicholson.
one from Nicholson, here. And then there's one from an individual.
Right, so two references.
Yeah, and there's two for Durham Street as well.
Have we actually physically seen any?
Yeah. The work, if you want to see Watkinson's do all the work all around Bonham and all the wrought iron work on the Crescent. If anybody would like to go and have a look at that, that's typically what he has so far. And I can't say the same for Durham, I don't know what they've done, but I'm sure their work is good. Yes,
Wasn't he involved with the Olympic?
yes,
He did some work at the Olympics.
yes, he did. So what I'm basically asking now, is, anybody else want to debate any further on this, or will we go for a vote?
I just want to reiterate what Howard said, just to point out that the Durham Street engineers, even though they're a cheaper quote, theirs are off the shelf and have to be cut to measure, whereas Watkinson is a sole trader and he will be making them to fit, specifically to fit our measurements.
Yeah, and what we're basically asking tonight is that the property committee decided on Watkinson, that's what we wanted, it went to finance, and the clerk suggested that the auditor would want to know the difference of money, so there has to be evidence to come in. This is the evidence, so now all I'm asking, I am proposing that we use Watkinson, if anybody would like to second that, being that I'm on the property committee, and then a vote, please. So, that's it, Watkinson we're using. Thank you everybody, I'm sorry that got a bit convoluted there, but I wanted to make sure
It must be confusing to see.
I understand, yes, you haven't
No,
seen it, it just
sorry,
makes it that much more. So we'll go on to another vote to be had about more money to be spent on those fields. So the council considers the quote in oak from the same sculptors who visited the animals in Glen Garden as was on previously. There is the preview, the review of the information and the letter from Mrs Robinson. Is there any comments or questions regarding going ahead with this? So Councillor Robinson first, then Howgate, then Mills.
I would like to suggest that we don't use the same sculptor as the one that's done the work in the Glen Gardens. So I don't think it's particularly good quality. And also I'm not certain that we ought to have it in wood. I think we should have it in resin.
Right, Councillor Howgate next.
My question was, why haven't we got a quote for it being in resin rather than wood?
Thank you very much. Have we got a quote for it being in there?
No, because it was asked.
Because that's it.
Like for like, isn't it?
Yeah, it said, like for like, in wood.
So, do you want, well, I can start in a minute, I'll just get everybody's point of view first. Councillor Mills.
My question was in terms of getting rid of the current Bonzo, could we not offer it out if somebody wants it?
I don't think it's safe, Councillor Mills.
Is it not?
No,
And if it's wood, we could burn it.
we could do something, but I don't think it's safe to play on or do.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Cracks like that, and if you hit your fingers in those cracks, you know.
Yeah.
Part of the quote of the company that it is to actually, as was requested, like for like, so it's for it to be taken away, the original one, and the new one being put back in situ where that one was.
So do they need the current one to make it like
Model
that?
it on,
yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Councillor Hatsey.
Yeah, the ones in Glengard's aren't particularly good, and they're very small. You know, the actual sculpture's small, and I think there'd be a butterfly without a wing for that. That's God knows how long. But the Lions had their beardom, up at Stake, which is local, it's above Pickering. And I think we ought to investigate that, because that lion has been there quite a few years. Having been moved from the seafront up to Glen Gardens, and it still appears in very good condition. I think it might be worth having a word with the guy that sculpted that. As I say, it's Stake, so it is local, or relatively local. And or approach Mrs Robinson and ask if her sculptor could produce a child-safe seal in steel. Because he obviously uses welds and God knows what, which, yes, you can round them off, but it still leaves slight ridges. So, you know, if he could do that, then in metal, yeah, it would be whatever.
Councillor Cockle.
Yeah, sure, could I ask those who were talking about resin, do you mean fiberglass or do you mean solid resin?
Solid resin.
Right. I hope you understand the very expensive cost that would involve.
There'd be no maintenance with it, would there?
There'll be no, I'm talking about the construction.
And it would last forever.
But you would have to make a plug to make a mould,
Yeah.
and that, so in effect you're creating a seal and then going to throw it away.
Councillor Gage.
May I just ask a clarification then? So this letter that we got from the Community Environment Officer, is this from the person that made the
Yes.
original
Yes.
Bonzo?
Yes.
No,
No, it's the people from Glen Gardens.
the people who made the sculptures in Glen Gardens, that is from them. They have, within that letter, if you notice, they have stated that they are, because of what's happened to the previous ones, they've looked at them, and the wood that they're going to use is high quality oak,
Yeah.
and there will be a maintenance or using some form of oiling, etc., to keep them in a better condition than the ones currently are in Glen Gardens.
Okay. And the second thing then, am I right in recollecting, I do apologise, I've not
No, it's fine.
we agreed that we were going to fund the replacement of bonds at the last meeting, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay, and Beyond Housing has suggested they were interested in putting
They may.
£5,000.
They may be.
Maybe.
So we'd only so far gone to the guys that had done the sculptures.
Yes.
I mean, they're a totally different thing anyway, people say they're not very good sculptures, they're a totem pole, aren't they? So it's a completely different form of artwork, isn't it, compared to what we're asking to do with Bonzo. But yeah, what John said about maybe asking the guys in Staines, is it, John?
Yeah, and additionally, if I can, the guy in the lion is in one piece. I mean, he's talking here about threading rods and jointing wood and all that as well. Totally unnecessary.
Yeah, and just to jump on what you're saying also, the £500 that they're quoting for transportation, if it's in Staines, it might not be as much.
It could say so down that might not be
as much.
as much, yeah. I think the thing is that we just reacted, the clerk just did what this council asked them to do last month, which was a like for like in an oak, and that's what the council's done. But we can certainly change that, we can certainly write states to see if they've got what they have there, give them the dimensions and see what they come back with. I mean, we've got plenty of time to do this thing, it's just fundamentally now we are going to do it, we can budget some money for it. Yes, sorry, Councillor Mills.
I was just going to say that could I propose that we get another quote, because it is like a significant amount of money from the other place, and then maybe a third, so that we've got 3. I don't know who the third could be, I know I'm proposing it.
Councillor Haslett and
I
Councillor
don't
Wilkie.
second Sally, but could we also thank Mrs Robinson
Yeah.
and say, you know, the council is very interested in a steel seal to replace the existing. Could she have a word with her sculptor and ask him whether it would be possible to make a child-friendly seal? Because, you know, the amount of kids that sit on that by the photograph today, especially when there's a sleigh down at Christmas, you know, it's unbelievable. That's really nice.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkie.
I was just going to say before that sort of round, just needs more investigation and more information about the best thing. I mean, who did the lion in?
Mr. Hussain, we're going to look
Oh,
into
that is, no, that lion, sorry, yeah, I thought you meant a different lion, sorry.
So can we sort of like have a resolution on this, that we will get the park to write to several different other companies, get some quotes in for the one at Staines, we've got the one in that you've already got.
Just one bit of clarification, we just need to understand that some of these won't be apples for apples. So, you know, if you're looking at someone to do one type of thing and someone to do another type of thing, it will be almost impossible to decide on price alone. It will have to be on the design and the end product and the potential longevity of that item.
Councillor Haslett.
Well, I think we can generally get there. We know what material we want, oak or single hard oak. We know the finish we want, which is an oil finish. We've got the size, and we've got a rough picture of what a seal looks like. So, you know, I mean, you can't go that far from it.
I think it's only if we decided if we wanted to go down the resin route, then that would be a completely different kettle of fish.
We'll have to vote on that before we... Yes, Councillor
And
Miller.
I thought we had already voted on the Ian wood last time.
Yeah, where was the like for like?
Yeah.
Yeah, we with the like, so in terms of the quotes then, we're just going to get quotes for like wood, so it will be more apples to apples.
Sorry,
We're not
Councillor
getting
I was just going to say, I was looking at the Warhorse, which is obviously in metal, but that has a saddle on it. If we had a metal one, perhaps it would have a saddle, which would be safer for children. I'm not talking about proper saddle.
I know.
I'm talking about a leather saddle shaped, just to make it more comfortable for children to sit on.
I think that's quite a wacky and wonderful idea. But I think the idea, thank you for that, Councillor Robinson, but I think the idea is to keep it as was for the fishermen when the seal landed on the cobble landing and it was like lived there forevermore. But thank you for your wonderful imagination there. Councillor Wilkie.
So, through your chair, we could just specify that it has to be oak, couldn't we? Which, if you open it up to any wood, you could you could specify a material, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But the guy came back with that his recommendation would be oak.
Well, we could make that.
Yeah, I'll give that to everyone else to say in oak.
Yeah. Well, one piece.
Well,
Possible, but that may be the difficult thing to do is purely on the. And I'm only talking about from the discussions I've had with Roger is that the reason that it's relatively cheap is that they're using smaller pieces of wood. If you start having it as one piece, you start needing to have a very, very large
But it'll last longer.
tree. But it's very costly.
It lasted 20 years, I think, that one was down there. I mean, I think a lifespan of something, you need to really be thinking of doing something new again in 20 or 2 decades stage.
Yeah.
So I propose then that the clerk writes to all the different people that we've discussed tonight to get further quotes, to see what we can do in different types of wood. How do you feel about what Councillor Howgate? I think that's going to be so very expensive. And Councillor Robinson, what was it you suggested?
Just other than David and actually the longevity.
I thought we already voted on wood.
Councillor
I
Howgate.
agree with Darren about that. I mean, one in resin, with the maintenance free, colour of the seal, not wood. You know, it's got to be looked into, surely.
Fine. Councillor Wilkie, then Councillor Milton, Councillor Cockrell.
We've already voted.
We have, so we have to. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. We've already voted on it.
I thought we just
Councillor Lange.
If anybody's read the reports on the media recently, Scarborough Borough Council is in partnership with Whitley Town Council to erect a lot of wire sculptures.
Yes,
I presume they're putting some money into that.
still one in Scarborough, haven't they?
And each sculpture's having a QR, what do you call it, where you can scan it and it gives you information on that. I mean, I think that's something that's worth looking into, because we're now amassing quite a few sculptures and artefacts of interest that, you know, we could possibly think about doing that with. And producing a guide.
Maybe that could be on property, something to discuss, do you think?
You are hoping quite easy.
And bring it forward when we've got more of an idea, yes, councillor. Yes, yes.
That actually was one of the things that was brought up at the signage meeting that a number of us attended, is that as the new signage is going to be the project with SBC, is that each sign, stroke, artefact, stroke, whatever, will have a QR plate with it. And it will either be, you know, you'll be able to use your phone to get the information, or it'll be an interactive sign that you can press and it will literally speak to you or talk to you or come through your phone. So it's already been discussed in terms of that being an ongoing project. And those can be fitted in retrospect.
They all, yes, councillor.
Just one more thing, have you replied to Mrs. Robinson?
No, I was
Waiting for
waiting for tonight. She's aware of what we're doing, but I was waiting to see it tonight before I went ahead and said yes, no.
She's primarily concerned with metal work.
Her letter is
It's
very.
maritime, isn't it? Everything to do with
Her letter is very unspecific. She's just very keen to assist and help. Yes.
She's a lovely lady.
Anybody else like to say anything else about the seal, since we know what we're now going to write up for more quotes? So we've got more information and a more of a rounded idea to bring forward to the next meeting.
One more thing, sorry.
No, you're fine, councillor again.
I don't do that. The steel, the current steel then, that isn't just one piece of wood, is it?
No.
No. So we're on about one piece of wood, even if it's the steel out of one piece of wood, and then...
Yeah, that's what I meant, the steel and the plate. I just didn't, I
No,
thought
that's fine.
the steel.
Just the plate. The only reason that we're doing it is because the steel that is there at the moment needs replacing.
Yeah. And everybody does it.
Replacing like for like.
Yeah.
And it's heritage, it's part of
Yeah.
good fire. Councillor Cockle.
Just one spanner. Looking at the existing seal, and all right, yes, we know the seal was shot, but also the plinth has gone.